Cigar Studio in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Spare Notes series with your hosts, Matt Tabacco and William Cooper.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Smoke and Tobacco Show. I'm sorry. No, I'm all fucked up today. The Spare Notes series.
Yeah. Nah, all right. Yeah.
All right, Coop, give me a hard time. I know you're ready for it.
No, listen, I probably have, floundered more than you have.
Floundered.
So it's the first time, yeah. Matt flopped,
Oh, don't even get me going, will ya? No, welcome to the Spare Notes series. I'm Matt Tobacco from SmokingTobacco.com, and I'm joined once again by one of my very bestest friends in this industry, Mr. William Cooper of Cigar-Coop.com. Coop, we had a long day today. You and I were both on KMA radio this morning.
Yeah, no, great job, by the way, with the takeover.
Thank you.
Folks didn't see it, and I won't steal too much of it. Matt put together a show that was probably a first of its kind.
Yeah, we had not one, not two, but three guests. We had Lito Gomez Sr., Lito Gomez Jr., and Tony Gomez all on the show at the same time.
Yeah.
It was a great time. Very fortunate to Abe and Alex and Paul for letting us have the opportunity to take over that show. It was truly an honor for myself, Nicole, and John, but also to the Gomezes for all being able to give us their time on a Saturday morning to be on the show. And I think they had a great time. They were really into it. Lito took his shirt off at one point. So it was a good time. It was a good time. And they talked a lot about Inez. So Inez wasn't on the show, but they all talked about Inez, and the consensus that I got from all of them is that even Lito Gomez does not have final say at La Flor Dominicana. It has to go to Inez, and if she says no, then it's no. So, it was a great time, and nothing but love to the Gomez family and to our family down at Smoke Inn. Really, it was an awesome opportunity.
Yeah, no, it was really, really good. Like I said, I think as a father of boys, who almost are in that range, very close. I just gotta say, Lito's just done an incredible job with those two boys.
Yeah.
And the professionalism and just the good nature of them, and they're really both becoming cigar makers in their own rights. I mean, if you haven't spoken Solis yet, when you hit it, I think people are gonna be in for a real treat. This cigar that Lito Jr. did, real deal. So they're just a quality family, and I'm blessed to know them. And I could tell you the other thing is you have to see Lito Gomez party at Pro Cigar. No one parties at Pro Cigar like Lito.
Not even our friend Carlito who's watching in the chat.
No, I would say Carlito could party, but but I gotta say Lito is definitely at a level. He's at a level higher than me. So Carlito could party better than me, though. I'll say that, right? So, I mean,
I was gonna say I've heard Carlito can party too. I mean,
well, listen, Carlito can party much harder than I can. So I'm like, but I gotta say Lito, Lito was up on that dance floor with the cameras on him, So,
yeah, I remember John showing me the video of, was it Pro Cigar like 2 years ago when like they were all up on stage and they were dressed like rock stars, and they were like they performed a song or something like that. I don't know. You probably know what I'm talking about.
I remember. And actually, I wasn't there for that. I had to leave for that. But yes, they were all up there performing.
Yeah, so I mean, Pro Cigar definitely sounds a good time. It definitely sounds like that is where Lito Gomez really has his time to shine. So
yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
We have an unknown user watching the show tonight.
What,
normally that's
Mega.com? 69Mega.com?
No. We have one called it's a Facebook unknown user. It says, "What up, drinking buddies?" I'm like, who's that? But I'm thinking it could be Barry Beliveau, because Dan Thompson says, "Howdy, Barry Beliveau." And we have drank with Barry before, so
we actually drank with Barry 2 weeks ago.
We did.
Great seeing everybody. I gotta just say, I bust on Boston and New England. What the warmth and kindness of everyone up there was incredible. It was a great week I had up there for sure.
And also, while we're at it, before I forget, I do want to wish a happy anniversary to Mr. and Mrs. Dan Thompson. Yesterday was their wedding anniversary. Although I don't know, Dan, how many years has it been? That's I'm sure he'll chime in. But so again, happy anniversary to Dan Thompson. That's awesome. Love Dan. Thank you for being here. Mitchell Sand, he's here. Carlito's here with us tonight. So guys, welcome to the show. Barry's so Barry's here. All right. So 16 years, Dan Thompson. Nice. Congratulations. So, Barry, I have to give a huge thank you. Barry took my local brick and mortar. My local brick and mortar took very good care of me because I believe in supporting your local brick and mortars when you can. I got my SakaKhans today.
Fanboy.
Let me tell you something. This is, and I'm going to be honest, and if Steve sees it.
Fanboy.
Listen.
Gotta show Steve.
Listen. Let me have my moment. This is
okay.
This is the first box of Dunbarton Tobacco Trust I've ever owned. I've never bought a box of Steve's before. No, because I don't like cigars, but just I've never had like that urge to buy a whole box or something.
You were much higher on this blend than I was, though.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
fair.
before you
I'm
give
not
me a
saying it was
hard
bad,
time,
but I like the other ones better.
it's my first Saka box. All right, so
Yeah.
I mean, let me have my moment. It's not like I'm like those guys who are like, I got my 200th box of Saka. It's like this is my first one. I'm excited.
Well,
I think the cigar was great. The packaging's awesome. I mean, this box is pretty badass. I mean, look at that. The black with that like paisley pattern. You can't deny that.
Yeah. Now, I smoked the JR50's version, and I did buy a box of those. It's a good cigar. I just, to me, Tricky Traca and the original Mi Querida are better. That's what I would just say.
Nicole is here, too. She said she loved it, too. And she did.
But, yeah, I mean, a lot of people, it's a lot of people liked it. I'm curious to see when some of the other sizes come out of that, for sure.
Yeah, so that was the thing that Nicole said. Nicole said she did like the cigar a lot. It's a great blend, but she said that she would have preferred it in a smaller ring gauge for sure for herself. I mean, she's more of a smaller ring gauge smoker, so that's understandable. And I'm sure there will be some, obviously, when more sizes come out next year, there will be a much wider variety of sizes and stuff that, hopefully there's something smaller than this that, Nicole will find enjoyable because she did really like the cigar. So I'm excited to see what other sizes come out. So this is what I am going to be smoking tonight, Coop, just so you know. And Carlito says, I'm very quiet when it comes to parties. That is, I feel like that's a lie. Where's Maury? We're going to do the lie detector test.
Listen, you know what I pulled out about this afternoon? And Carlito's on something. I pulled out like a Hemingway Maduro with about 4 or 5 years of age on this thing. And Matt, I'm just telling you, the sweetness that came off that thing was unbelievable.
On a Hemingway?
On a Hemingway Maduro.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
I mean, and I just wow. I mean, I had it. I kind of did a little humidor drinking this afternoon, and it was incredible.
Yeah,
but I am smoking Maria Lucia tonight because I didn't have another one of those to smoke.
I've heard a lot of good things about that.
Yeah. I when we were talking with Barry, actually, I agree. Barry and I were talking, and on the Cigar Authority, I actually like. This is from Luciano Morelos, Ace Prime. I think we both really like the Mas Igneous, right? I think the Mas Igneous was the better of the two cigars, but a lot of people like the Maria Lucia. I thought it was really good as well. But that Mas Igneous is something special.
Alexander Martinez is here tonight. LFD Golden 1 and 2. Yeah, I have yet to try that cigar. It is on my list, and in fact, as of today, Luciano will be coming on with us in a few weeks. So I'll probably try to secure some of those and smoke that with Luciano on the show. Very excited for that.
Yeah, the Coop team really was big. I mean, I think everyone on the Coop team had this in their top 5, but me. But I had Mas Igneous in the top 5. But they had smoked more of these than I had. So, but this is one of my last show samples. But these have hit the stores now, so.
Yes, they have. I am going to cut and light my cigar once again with my Cigar Blondie cutter and lighter from Cigar Blondie. Shout out to our friend Leo at Cigar Blondie for these awesome accessories that we use to cut and light our cigars every week right here on the Spare Note series.
This lighter, right, with the fan flame is just, I mean, it's great.
It's incredible.
It's got
It's
it's
so
got
unique. It's different.
fucking-
It's even, you know what? You fuck it. You could even call it stylish. I mean, you're in a lounge. You pull out this real slim,
Yeah.
sleek lighter, and you have that nice flat flame there, the patented
but
blade
what,
flame.
it's perfect for a prensado pressed cigar. And I'm
Oh
running out
yeah,
of butane.
absolutely. Uh oh, you didn't fill it. Coop, what a rookie move. What a rookie move. He knew we were doing the show, and he comes unprepared with an unfilled lighter.
I'll blame the Hemingway.
You know, Carlito and Barry and Mitchell and, you know, Jay Davis, who's not here, which is a shock because he's always here, and we love Jay.
Jay's traveling. Jay's traveling, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But Jay would be giving you shit, too.
Right. Yeah. God, I hate when I do.
Oh, my God.
And
That's
it's
good.
back. Yep.
That's even better than the one I had at the trade show. I mean, which is probably not a surprise, but wow. Yeah, I really like this cigar. I've been thinking about this all day.
The SakaKhan.
Yeah. But you didn't love it.
I didn't love it. But like I said, I tell you, but it's up. Mi Querida Tricky Traca, both the blue and the red in that 4x48 size is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked the I agree with you on the Tricky Traca. I did really enjoy it in that size. I don't think I had the blue in that size. I've had the blue in, you know, larger sizes. Which, speaking of larger sizes, shout out to the Discord fam who are here tonight, watching somewhere in the comments. I know they're here. Ah, there they are. Here they come. Here they come. You say it, and it's almost like, you know, saying Beetlejuice 3 times, and they come out. Here they are.
Were these the guys who were beating me up about the big ring gauges?
Yes, they were. Yes, they
Okay.
were. It was done respectfully, but they were saying, you know, hey, how come Coop thinks, you know, you can't put a big ring gauge in your mouth? And I said, hey, take it up with Coop.
I'm a big ring gauge fan. And look, I'm a big ring gauge fan. That's why. So coming from me, but who was saying they smoked the 90 today? Was it John? No, who said? Someone said they were smoking the 90 ring gauge.
Ooh, respectfully, open wider, Coop, is what we're being told. Wow.
Very nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. I don't know. Yeah, I missed that. Someone did say that.
Maybe it was on Dojo's show. Was it today? It was, right? I think it was John.
I don't know, though. I feel like John would have told me if he smoked that thing. The 9x90? The Asylum?
Yeah, who was saying it? Unless it was last night. No, I think it was John. I'm positive it was John. I just don't know if he said it last night or the night before.
Maybe it was last night because I don't remember hearing him say it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just checking one thing here.
Gotta love that. But I'm at point.
Sorry, I had to do a little show stuff. It's okay. We're good to go. So it's been what, 3 weeks since we were on here last?
Yeah, I mean, because last week we didn't do a show. You were traveling.
Yes.
The week before we decided not to do the show so we could actually spend some time hanging out.
Yes,
right?
that's true. You were in my neighborhood. That's right.
Yep. So we did it the week before that.
Mitchell said it was John Carney. He said smokes the 9x90 on Dojo.
Good job, Mitchell. Mitchell's always on. I
Mitchell's on
knew
his
that
game.
John said he smoked.
Wow.
I was getting on the Dojo guys last night for not picking Asylum. They were like, you know, they come out with their cigars ranked #1 on Dojo, like the Meshuggah, right? And there's no pick by any of them on the Asylum. I was shocked.
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading a comment from Mitchell, West Coast of Canada. We have a fire about 10-15 miles away, raging as well as some coming up from Washington. Hopefully, Boofy isn't smoked out. That's true. Matt Booth does live in the state of Washington.
By the way, he's going to be doing primetime on Thursday.
Oh,
I think
really?
Matt's further east. I think Matt's much further east in Washington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh shit, wait a minute, that's no good. Well, Mitchell, I hope you guys are okay. I mean,
Yeah, obviously, I hope everyone's okay. That's the
yeah,
most important
yeah.
thing.
That's I was you go through the comments and really, but I caught that. I was like, oh, and then I saw Nicole comment, well, I hope you're okay. And I was like, wait, what did I miss? And then I kind of it all
Yeah.
clicked for me. But yeah, wow. I hope everyone's okay out there. I didn't realize it was another fire region out there.
You know, I got to see a little of the fires last year when I was out in California, and they're wow. I mean, it's something we don't deal with in the East, is what I'll just tell you.
Was it last year when you smoked a cigar on the Golden Gate Bridge?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. You didn't really
Yeah.
stay long, but
Well,
I
no,
remember you
I
did
was
it.
on there. The problem was that there were a lot of kids on the bridge, and no one gave me any problems or anything, but I felt kind of bad smoking around a lot of kids. It's just, I tried to kind of. There's not a lot of places you can go up. There's a couple of corners you can go on when the bridge kind of widens out a little, but it was tough. But I did spend probably about 40 minutes smoking on the bridge.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good amount of time.
Well, that was a bucket list. So I'll just give you the. I started a bucket list. The first one was Red Rocks, which I smoked in 2020. The Golden Gate Bridge was last year. This year, I want to smoke in downtown Minneapolis, where Mary Tyler Moore takes her hat and throws it in the air.
Oh wow.
So I'm gonna have a chance to do that in December. So that will be the next one.
Don
And
Mancini.
the idea is I want to pick an iconic place every year to smoke a cigar, something famous, and that will be the next one.
That's a nice goal to have. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm yawning
But
already.
the
I'm
Golden
sorry.
Gate Bridge, no, it's okay. It's a long day. The Golden Gate Bridge one was, like I said, a little flawed because, again, the idea is you don't want to be around kids doing this stuff, and so.
There's just I'm sorry. I'm watching the comments right now. In the comments. So some of these guys too. They came out for KMA today. Obviously, with the Gomez's being on, a lot of them are in the LFD Discord as well, and they hail to their boss Tony Gomez, and now they're here and they're commenting and providing so much entertainment for those who are listening, and you're not watching the feed, you're not really looking at it. There's a lot of comments towards Coop. Bro, Coop looking fresh right now from Tyler. He does. He looks crisp. He's got a nice shirt on, a nice collar for those who can't see him. He looks great. He looks dynamite.
I'm gonna start like wearing the sport jacket and ties on some of my shows again.
I think you should.
Cool. I used to do that. When it gets a little cooler, I'll do that. It's still too hot to do that.
So Barry said, I had to give up on Facebook. Barry here from the Cigar Authority on YouTube. All right, Cigar Authority is on here on the show.
I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that show.
Yeah, you know what? So yeah, so for this show and our listeners who maybe missed out on that, tell them a little bit about you actually made your appearance on Cigar Authority.
Yeah, I was very grateful to be on. I felt a little bad because I never liked disrupting the rhythm of the show, and this was a little last minute. I was up there to say the least. But I was grateful it was on, and I love the topic we did. We were going through like these old cigar brands of the past, and just kind of going through them. And a lot of them I didn't know, a lot of them I did know, but it was really fun. It just kind of I actually went back and watched it again. I want to research a few of these other ones because there were things Dave brought up that I hadn't heard of or really forgot about. But it was a lot of fun. That studio setup is the best setup in I've ever seen, and that goes for my old show, Stogie Geeks. The Cigars already one blows it away, and it's just the store. That store is just kind of a unique store. The 2 stories, the long format.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then I went over to Nashua. We went over to Nashua, which was really cool as well. So yeah, it was a great afternoon, morning and afternoon. It was a long day I had there.
Yeah, we were in Salem. We went to Nashua, and then we went to dinner. We had a nice dinner together.
Was great. That dinner really filled me up.
Yeah, we had a great dinner together, and then we went up to the 724 Lounge at Twins, Kurt Kendall's home. So you got 2 guys at Twins all on the same day, and it was a great time. It was a great day, and then we had a couple drinks with Barry. And it was great. It was just good company, and
it was good. It was good. In New Hampshire, it's just New Hampshire and Rhode Island are two great. I went to Rhode Island on Sunday. They're just two great places to make like cigar weekends. I mean, you could definitely do a cigar weekend up in New Hampshire, and it'd be great. You can go to two guys. I recommend going to Two Guys in the afternoon, and then probably Kurt's in the evening, just because Two Guys closes earlier. So, but you can make a great weekend up there and
Yeah, the best thing
really have a lot of fun.
when I tell people you're going to be up there on a weekend, get to Two Guys for noon, hit Cigar Authority.
Yeah.
By 2:30, by the time they finish the 2:30, 2:45-ish, no later than 3, they're done with the after show. And then, go get yourself a nice, like a little, late afternoon, early evening dinner, and then head 4 exits up on 93 North. Off exit 5 in Londonderry, New Hampshire, you have Twins, and amazing bartenders, amazing cigar selection.
Yeah, really.
And that's your whole night right there. I mean, it's great. You got 2 great shops near each other, all on the same route. It's a straight shot, and you can make a whole day and a night out of it. It's awesome. And
yeah.
No tax. No tax.
That was not. I loaded up. I mean, believe me, I loaded up. I bought firecrackers. I bought some of the Adventuras they had gotten in. Some Osgunder cigars. So yeah, I did some good, and the guys were very generous with me with cigars there too. Everyone was very generous. So, and then I went to Rhode Island on Sunday and loaded up there, although there was tax down there.
Nicole brings up another one too. We've had a great time going. If you go to the other direction, up 95, you can go to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which is also right over the border. And down in Portsmouth, if you've never been to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, it's one of those really old classic towns in New England, with all the old brick buildings and the little stores and stuff like that. And there's some great places up there, some great restaurants. And then you can go to the Federal. And Federal, shout out to Jeremy, our boy Jeremy. Shout out to him. Always has great hospitality for us. That's another great one that you can go to in the New England area. In New Hampshire, right over the border. That's right up 95. You got Two Guys and Twins on 93. If you go at 95, you also have, if you keep going in the same direction of Portsmouth, you go to Seabrook, and you can go to the other Two Guys location. And then if you go up Route 3, you hit Nashua, and you hit another Two Guys store. That's where Barry is.
The one. That's the one we went to in the afternoon. That was a great setup. That store too.
And if you keep going even further north up 93 into Manchester, you can find Castro's Back Room, which is another awesome shop in the area. And Barry knows a little bit more about some of the other locations. I can't remember where they all are, but and there's one in downtown Nashua as well. So there's a lot of cigar shops up there, good shops. They carry a lot of great cigars. Yep. So if you're not from this area and you head up to that area and you're going to cigar shops, like come like you're going to the casino. Bring a lot of extra cash because you're going to want to. You're going to find a lot of good cigars. Yep. They're going to be priced really well, and you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck with no tobacco tax or sales tax. So you're going to be stocking up on that trip. But believe me, it'll be easy to spend a lot of money on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then, like, I'll say the other thing is, Warwick, Rhode Island, which is just outside Providence. That's the home where Stogie Geeks used to be. So I know a lot of people up there.
Yep.
And there's some great shops in that area as well. I'll shout out to Mr. J's Havana Lounge. Got to go there for sure. There's some other great ones. There's Havana Club and some other. I think Regency. I'm leaving some out, but yeah, I do know Mr. J pretty well for over the years. So I had not seen his new store, and that was the first time I had seen it. And
wow!
It's just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, Rhode Island's another one too. There's like
you could do a weekend
shops.
Like you could do another. I mean, I have a lot of Rhode Island. I used to have a lot of ties there. We used to vacation in Narragansett and Newport. Then obviously I had the relationship with Stogie Geeks for a while, so I do know a lot of people in Rhode Island. I actually had business in Rhode Island, which is why I stayed the weekend. So another great place to go. Like I said, you could do a weekend there very easy too, and really enjoy yourself smoking. So do a week, like start with New Hampshire and then go to Rhode Island or vice versa.
Yeah, go to New Hampshire. Yeah. Blow through Massachusetts, unless if you want to stop in Massachusetts, if you're a cigar geek and you like, you want to say you've been there, you go down to Boston, and you can go to LJ Peretti. Because LJ Peretti is the oldest
Yeah.
cigar store, the oldest tobacco shop in America,
Yeah.
and it is cool to say you've been there. And there's some great people there, and they have some good cigars. So shout out to those guys, and shout out to my friend Stephen Gilward at LJ Peretti. Because that's something I think a lot of people would appreciate if you're really into that kind of thing. It's not really a lounge, so you can't really stay and hang out too much, but if you're really into that in the history and you're a cigar geek, so to speak, that's something that you'd probably, appreciate seeing. Other than that, keep on going to Rhode Island. And after you're done with LJ Peretti, keep going to Rhode Island, and then you can go down to a ton. You got Mr. J's down there. You got Regency Cigar Emporium. Shout out to Michael at Regency Cigar Emporium. I'll give them a plug. Had a great time down there. That's a great shop. Great hospitality, great cigars. They do a real stand-up job over there. There's another one. I think there's Breakwater Cigar Lounge, which I know is very popular. I haven't spent much time there myself, but I know some people who have, and that's a really popular one. So, yeah, there's great shops, north and south of Massachusetts. It is definitely a good place to go.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I would just rank the Boston area probably in the top 5 of bad areas to smoke, unfortunately. And this has nothing to do with the people or anything. It's just the laws there. Like certain times you can go to hotels and you can find a place to smoke. I mean, I could not find any hotel where there was any place to just have a cigar outside without, like, standing up, like a cigarette smoker. So Boston probably is second to San Francisco as far as I'm calling the metro area. San Francisco is the absolute worst. Nothing will ever top San Francisco, but Boston, unfortunately, might have climbed to number 2 here, and it's a shame because it is again, all kidding aside with the teams and everything, it's a great city. I love the time of the year. I was up there. The people are great up there, and it's just unfortunate, because I think you have so many great people in the state. Like, wouldn't you just want to foster that social community over a cigar? I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I did remember. I forgot. There is one lounge you can go to in Boston. It's very old. It's in the North End neighborhood, which is the Italian neighborhood, and it's called Stanza dei Sigari.
Mm-hmm.
That is a pretty cool place. It's like an old school speakeasy. It's downstairs, dimly lit, real old rustic vibe. It's not like very new and modern by any means, but it has that old school feel to it. Like, this is the place the mobsters used to hang out, kind of thing. And there's pictures of them all over the walls too. Like I said, it's in the Italian neighborhood of Boston. So that is a place that you can go smoke. I will tell you now that the cigar prices are tourist prices. So. Just be prepared for that. So that's why, as a local, I don't really spend much time down there. Once in a while, we're in the city, we're doing stuff at night, and we're like in the mood. We're like, hey, you want to go down to Stanza? I mean, like, we're out, like, I want a cigar. I'll go, but I'm not going there on the reg to hang out. I think I probably go there like once a year. Last time I was there, I think it was my birthday last year. We went there after dinner, and it was a fun time. But other than that, Massachusetts, it is unfortunate. I really wish there was more lounges, more shops, and just more going on, but. You know what? That just means I have more time to give love to my boys up in New Hampshire.
Absolutely,
they'll take my money.
Yeah, absolutely, and as well, and it's a good place to give your money to those guys. So,
and Carlito's here with us too. Yes, very nice. The authorities don't mess with that area, and no one likes to yell at more about governments and regulations than Carlito. I mean, he'll tell you himself. I mean, it's BS the way that the cigar culture gets treated, and the bureaucrats and all that other stuff that Carlito talks about, and it's true.
Right.
I mean, he makes a lot of good points.
Oh, well, that's why, again, going back to the Golden Gate Bridge thing, most people, I don't think I was doing anything special as far as not wanting to smoke around a kid. Most people I know in the cigar would probably thought the same thing in my scenario. I'm being serious here. We don't try to bother anybody. We really do try to be respectful. And all we do is get crapped on, I feel like, sometimes. And it's frustrating, unfortunately.
Yeah. People frown upon cigar smokers. And I remember one time I was on social media. I was on Instagram. And so I think you know this place. If not, it's okay. But I wouldn't be shocked if you knew this place. So we have a place up in the North Shore, which we call the North Shore area. The towns, immediately between Boston and the New Hampshire border, on the coast, right? And the North Shore and you have the South Shore, and then you have the Cape further down. So on the North Shore, going up Route 1, famous road in our area, we have a Chinese place. And if you want to talk about Chinese places, it is perhaps one of the biggest and best Chinese places ever, anywhere. People come from all over to go. Celebrities come from all over to go. And this place is called Kowloon. And it's been around since, I think, the 50s or the 60s. My grandparents grew up going there. My parents grew up going there. Everyone I know for, like, generations has been going to Kowloon. It's this huge place. And so during the pandemic, they were doing see, Barry knows. Barry knows. So, and I have a funny story that Barry knows is true. Not about Barry, but Barry will know after this. So they were doing, a lot of people doing outdoor stuff. They started this outdoor kind of like drive-in theater kind of thing where, like, you go and they had, like, those storage containers stacked up and they would, like, play movies and games and stuff on the screen. And then they had tables and they were doing the outdoor dining thing during the pandemic. And so I remember kind of getting to my main point here is that I remember they were advertising for it on Instagram, and they said, like, oh, we're going to do outdoor dining, this and that. And I think someone posted that they were there and they were having a cigar or whatever. And this woman commented and was like, ew, that's fucking disgusting. Cigars are, I hate smoking and cancer and I can't stand when people smoke cigarettes. And it's like, it's just that stigma of just, like, people have to be nasty about it. It's like, people just think it's the same as, like, smoking cigarettes, or they just think that it's, I don't know. And I feel like it's like, we know it so well. And for us, of course, we're offended because we like cigars, but it's like, we also just know so well that it's a different kind of lifestyle. And when you see those ignorant people just make those nasty comments like, fucking cigars, and it's like, okay, you don't have to love them, but don't act like we're like the scum of the earth. We're not smoking meth. You know what I mean? Like, I can't stand that shit. It's so, they're like, I'm so offended by the smoke. It's like, I'm offended by your fucking rude, sassy attitude. Because it's disgusting that you like look down on people like that, and it's like, I'm just trying to live my life too, not doing crack. Like, calm yourself down. Sorry, that's my beef right there. I don't get upset like Coop does, but there it is. I mean, that's my beef.
Unfortunately, my mom is very anti-smoking. By the way, former cigarette smoker, but became very anti-smoking. Hasn't really given me that hasn't really appreciated maybe what I've sort of accomplished in this industry. But, at my dad's memorial, she met Jay Davis. And I don't know, there was a connection, I think, that happened with her and Jay. And, she found out Jay was owned a cigar store in Texas and had flown up for this thing. And I think her conversation with Jay, combined with the fact that he was really nice and everything, she came out of this very differently looking at, like, what I did. And this was really evidenced when we took our family vacation the month after. My mom came down to Florida with us, and she wasn't doing the coughing, and she was actually sitting outside with me when I was having a cigar and stuff like that. That had never happened. I'm telling you, that experience with Jay changed.
I'm not laughing at you.
Yeah, no, I know. It's funny. It is funny. That's okay. But it's true.
Yeah, no, I mean,
She ain't gonna have a cigar. I'm not expecting my mom to ever have a cigar, but you know what? Sometimes you need to hear it from someone else, I think, or see it from someone else.
So Carlito said, we used to, and I didn't know this, we used to advertise in very early 1980s on the Boston Red Sox radio during games. Incredible how all those freedoms are so quickly stripped away. This is why PCA, CRA, and local organizations are so important to support, and I couldn't agree more. There's our plug for cigar rights groups and legislation fighting groups here that we support, like the PCA, CRA, CAA. Those groups they're here for a reason. So, Carlito said it best. That's a great example.
Yeah. Listen, they're not perfect. We know these organizations are not perfect, and they do make a lot of mistakes, as we point out.
Dan, I do feel bad.
but we still need these organizations. So, and they still do things for us. So it is absolutely important. And
Right.
the Phillies have won, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, thanks for letting us know. We were all so concerned.
I was a little behind. My thing's a little behind on the TV here. So
We were all so concerned about the Philadelphia Phillies.
Red Sox won a big game today. Actually,
Oh, did they? I actually, you know what?
17-4 over Baltimore. Yeah.
Well, it's about time.
That's a key. Well, they could be affecting the playoff. I love how New England fans just like move on to the next sport when their team's like out of it. You know.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's 100% true. We are a dedicated fan base, but I mean, at this point in the baseball season, I mean, when you're in last place, I mean, there's really not much to hope for at all, and you kind of know, like, I mean, it is what it is at this point. And yeah, it's football season, and we take football season very seriously. In fact, we're one of the only cities that take all four of our teams completely serious. You know, some cities, you know, they have like one good team, and then the rest of them, they're like, man, fuck them. All of our teams matter all the time.
Well, Terrence Riley is rooting for the Buccaneers now. I don't even hear him talk about the Patriots anymore.
I don't know if I don't know personally if that's true, so I can't comment.
I'm telling you,
because I like Terrence, but
I love Terrence. I love Terrence actually. Yeah, I love Terrence, but his, you know, he just has a couple of misconceptions about things, but he's okay.
Are we talking about Gabe Kapler again, or?
You want to talk about Gabe Kapler?
Is that what that little comment was about? Because you made that little, you like the bitchy girls at the popular table in high school.
I wasn't even thinking. Gabe Kapler's like one of the of certain things like he just doesn't understand about sports. Right? By the way, there is a new coach in the crosshairs of William Cooper.
Oh, God, here we go. We're never going to hear the end of this guy now.
Marcus Freeman. He should have never been hired for the Notre. Look, I actually like Notre Dame. You know, Catholic school and everything. I like Notre Dame. Okay, Matt Doherty, my friend, used to coach there.
Yeah.
Listen, Marcus Freeman was not ready to be a head coach. He should have went to like another school first and then bring him back. And this poor guy's been put out to the wolves. And just end it with Marcus Freeman. It's going to be bad this year. You cannot. And here's the thing. I'll just put the icing on the cake. Every time Notre Dame hires an inexperienced coach, this happens.
The team goes into now.
It goes into the shitter. So, look, Notre Dame, bring someone in with experience. Maybe Marcus Freeman could have been the guy in a few years, but he wasn't ready for that job yet. I like Marcus Freeman. He's a good guy. He was a good guy on Kelly's staff. So, but yeah, he's got to go.
So I don't know what's going on, but apparently Barry's got something going on here. Barry Belleville, wish I knew who you were so I could message you directly. I don't know what's going on over here.
I'm not even going to go there.
Something's going on.
Leave Barry alone.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Don Mancini, my family's getting bigger with all my wife's boyfriends. I don't know what's going on in the comments right now. I have no idea what's going on.
I don't know if it's this. I'm not.
Something's going on. Oh, man, this is going to be funny to watch. Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing about Coop, and I'll remind everyone, if you guys want to get Coop going, don't pick on him about anything cigar-related, because in the end, he don't care about that. None of that matters to anybody. To him, you got to mention Gabe Kapler, Matt LaFleur, Joe Judge, the coach from Notre Dame.
Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's what you do. You bring those up, you talk about how great they are, and this and that, and he'll just go off and he'll post 15 copies of the same clown face of Gabe Kapler on social media. He'll just keep posting the same one every day. And then I'll comment because I'm like, when are you going to give it up? And I get shit because it's like, well, you know what? Here you are commenting again. And it's like, someone has to look you in the eye and be like, Coop, like, enough's enough, dude. You're obsessed with Gabe Kapler. Just say it. Just Coop.
All I know is everyone.
Let's have an intervention.
Let's
have an intervention. Just tell us you love Gabe Kapler. Just say it.
No.
Just say it.
Absolutely. I don't like the guy. I don't like the wheat Jeremy eats. I don't like the fact he takes his skin off the chicken McNuggets. I don't like the fact that he wears those stupid sunglasses. I don't like the fact he's wearing a beard and he looks like you now. So I mean,
What the fuck does that mean?
You and him look alike.
But it's how you said it. You just said, I don't like how he has a beard. He looks like you. So,
okay,
so
no.
So you said no. You said it like now he has the beard, so now he looks like you. That's another reason why I don't like him because he looks worse. Like I look bad.
No. You're a cool guy, and he's trying to be cool. And he's not. Okay?
Good save. Good save.
Yeah, no, that's an honest answer. That was
okay.
I don't. Yeah.
Oh my God, there's just so much going on in this show tonight. Let's see, another unknown user. Our after show last week on NFT seems to have offended a few people. Oh man, I did not hear the after show. I do know that they went over the NFT stuff, but I didn't hear it, so I can't comment on that. So I'm going to stay out of that one because I am not educated enough on the conversation that's going on. So let's just move on from that one, at least for us. They can keep on the comments if they want to, but I really can't get into that one. Barry's going to have to fight that one on his own. Sorry, Barry.
Barry's already getting into trouble. Yeah, this is.
It's funny because I don't think Barry has really watched the show a lot, and it's nice. It's nice to see Barry here. I'm happy Barry's here. I love Barry, so it's great to see him here. I have to do one thing. And Coop, you're gonna want to check your phone for that one, just because I wanted to ask you about something before we bring it up on the air, just so I know if we're on the same page or not. Just giving you the heads up. So, again, I feel like we haven't really covered anything solid like we normally do by now. We're just having our general banter.
Well,
it's been nice though.
Yeah. So there is something I do want to cover, and it was what you and I were talking about a little yesterday.
Okay. Yep.
And it's cigar related. So. Yesterday was that announcement from Forged Cigar Company on their flavored line.
Yes.
And I thought
FLVR or flavor.
FLVR, yeah. And I thought it was an interesting conversation because it kind of goes into the debate of what should we cover, what shouldn't we cover, right? And you asked me a couple of opinions on it, and it's interesting because we recorded Jukebox few hours earlier, and Dave Burke kind of asked me the same thing about this release. So I'll frame the discussion here a bit, okay?
Okay, sure.
Here's my first question. Like Dave Burke asked me this question. All right, do you think why would you come out with this release knowing that flavored cigars could be on a very short leash right now with the FDA? I thought it was an interesting question. I had an answer for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know
sure.
what okay, so my answer was that this Forged is owned by STG. It's a big company, right? They can afford to do this, okay? And look, flavors aren't going to be banned probably for another couple of years if they get banned at all, right? And I'm not convinced. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but certainly they can do that as opposed to a very small company. Like, let's say, and I'll pick on Protocol Cigars, right? Juan Cancel. I don't think it would be a smart move for Juan Cancel to come out with invest cycles in a flavored cigar line. Because he's a small brand, and that's going to eat up a lot of resources, which ultimately may not pan out for him, right? It's a bigger risk for him to do it. But I think for the most part, STG they could do this, and but it was a very interesting release. Did you? There was a lot that intrigued me about this release yesterday when it came out. Ultimately, I did decide to cover this, by the way, for a few reasons. Starters is I didn't have a problem with the packaging. And there was no naming on there. So I didn't feel like that this was – I don't think this is not an issue of packaging. It was an issue of whether you think it was a flavored cigar. And they were using other names with this cool, retro 1970s vibe to it, where I didn't have a problem with that. So instead of calling something like birthday cake, they called it, I forget, Space Ranger or something like that. Or fist bump. Actually, the birthday cake was called fist bump. It was like something completely off the wall. So I didn't have a problem per se with that. The packaging didn't give any indications. There weren't like birthday cakes or caramel chunks on the packaging. They looked like cigar packaging is what it looked like. So I was okay with it, and that's why you had asked me, "Are you gonna?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna print this." But if it was called, like I said, caramel chunk or something like that, no, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, it was interesting. The press release came across my desk, and I was like, okay, so there's a new flavored cigar. And the first thing I thought was like, it's interesting to see. Um, it was interesting to see a new flavored cigar being announced, a full line, 5 different blends and all that in a time like this. But I mean, I guess, like you said, it'd still be some time. And if anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be a big company who has the money to do it, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that made sense. If at first glance you see it and you're like, oh wow, okay. But then you look at it and you start to think about it and you think about, well, who's doing it? What are they doing? You're looking at the names on some of it. You're like, okay. I mean, it's compared to some of the other stuff I know we've talked about in the past. Like, yeah, it's a little different. So like I could see maybe where, like I know that they kind of release like specific flavor notes on stuff, but they're not calling it that. They're calling it by a different name. So I think it was
Yeah, I mean, either it depends where you're drawing your line. If you're drawing a line, say I'm not going to cover flavors anymore, or but I don't think this was crossing the line of this is marketing to kids. I didn't see anything about that would appeal to any kid, any different than a lot of other stuff.
yeah, that's
Traditional stuff is what I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, no, I thought it was a very unique release. When I started, I was like, oh, this is something kind of different, and
Yeah.
it was interesting. I kind of liked how they have 5 different flavors, which I'm not a big flavored cigar smoker, but like looking at it, I was like, to be honest with you, I would try that.
Yeah. The interesting thing that came out about this is, like I said, this came up on the Jukebox show, right?
Yeah.
And we pair music with cigars on that show, and we were looking at some of these releases, and we were very, very intrigued because, for example, there was one release which was called Yacht Rock,
Yeah.
right? Which is a rum flavored cigar with sugar and cola flavors, right? So we were like, well, do we do a Yacht Rock show and smoke that? I mean, why not? I mean, like, why not? Why wouldn't we do that? Or do we do like a Space Ranger show and do futuristic music or something like that? So we were kind of, like I said, and the 5 names. Here are the 5 names: Ski Chalet, Fist Bump, Space Ranger, Yacht Rock, and Unicorn Tears. They always did a bit. They probably could have called it blue, white, green, brown, and purple. But they chose to put other names on it. But again, I didn't see anything that wasn't like a bag of ice cream or a bag of cereal, that would really go and where a kid. I didn't see anything that would be. In fact, there's nothing on there except for the FLVR, which says flavor. That's the closest thing to anything that says it's flavored. So it doesn't even say it's flavored, but they kind of did this FLVR, which it's kind of a spin on it, I guess.
Yeah, it was kind of unique, and like I said, as a whole, I looked at it, I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting, and I like that, and I like the sizes too. They're 5?
Coronas.
They're like 5 by like 40, 42, something like that.
Yeah, 5 by 42.
Yeah.
$4.50 a cigar. If
Yeah,
that's
$4.50
your
a cigar.
thing-
It's a nice price too.
Yeah, again, I smoke flavored. I do smoke flavored cigars from time to time. It's not my primary thing. I don't review a lot of them because the reviews tend to come out exactly the same on all of them. They're not very complex.
Right.
But if you like to get one flavor, most of these flavored cigars, they don't really do it for me. I feel like I'm tasting artificial sweetener with all of them, which I don't like. So, So I mean, and the other thing that's interesting is, so this is being sold by Forged Cigars, which is the spinoff of General that they
Right.
did.
Yes.
They needed you could argue they needed a flavored line, right? Because CAO flavors went with General. So that's what General was doing their flavors under the CAO line. So now they kind of come out with their own line here under Forged. So it gives those guys something as a sell. And if they ban them, I don't think they're going to take a big loss on this. I mean, they'll take something, but I don't think it's going to destroy them.
Oh, yeah,
so.
there's always loss. I mean, but again, what? The one thing to think about too is we talk about these flavor bans and stuff, and you look at the companies who make the most of it, right? And there are a lot of the big companies. Swisher International. I mean, perfect example. You know what I mean? Off the stuff that Drew Estate makes with acid, right? Companies like that are the companies that have the money to fight it, you know, with their lawyers and all this other stuff, and try to delay things and push things out. And those are the companies who are really going to go after that stuff, right? The little companies and the boutique companies that maybe have a flavored cigar, like for example, there's like Amendola. They have the dessert cigar, which is which is kind of a flavored cigar. Someone like them, I mean, they're a small company. Like they're not the ones that are going to be spending money on fighting that shit. It's going to be the Swisher Internationals, the Scandinavian Tobacco. You know.
Part of me was like, part of me was asking why did they need to do this, and I guess for Forged they felt they did. I'm just like, you know, they.
Are you trying to say that you think that maybe the cigar was unnecessary?
Well, for me, maybe it was unnecessary. But I think for their brand, it was necessary because Forged didn't have a flavored line.
Okay.
I mean, I think that was the issue. I think that's why they did. I'm sure that was a plan they had, and they just stuck with it. And if it gets pulled, it gets pulled. Like, I don't understand what the dude from JSK is doing at all. He's turning his whole marketing model into these where he's got other cigars, which are actually, he's got some good cigars. I don't know why he's not focusing more on those cigars, rather than, I think this is I think what he's doing is not only, you know, put the marketing kids aside, I think it's a gimmicky thing that's not going to last. That's just my opinion. You
know, to be honest with you, I haven't had any of those cigars, and I don't know much about them, so I don't know much about like other stuff that he has, so I can't really. You know what I mean? Like I just don't. I don't have anything really to say. Not because like I don't want to. I don't know enough to make a comment because I'm not very familiar with his stuff. I mean I know who he is. I know about him, and I know some of the stuff he's got out there. But I don't know enough about his whole line to be like like one way or the other. I don't know. I know that he was one of the people that has been talked about in the past about some of the marketing and the packaging on some of his stuff. I mean, he wasn't the only one. There was a couple people that came up in the past, early in the year when the PCA sent that letter out about the packaging and stuff. I know his name came up. I know several others came up. But other than that, like I don't know much about what the other stuff he has. No, I mean, look, I made a decision in November of last year that no more of these food releases are getting covered, and no more things that I think could be marketed to kids are going to be covered. I made that decision long before I heard of Munchies. I made that decision after I reviewed a cigar from Viaje, a brand I've covered a lot, called the Candy Cane. Yeah. And I after I wrote that review and published it, the thought came in my head: this is not a good idea. But this cigar needs to be rebranded. And I went back and updated the review a couple hours later to say that. And I said, after this, no more. So, and I think I've been pretty consistent of this for the most part. If it's, for the most part, I kept it pretty, I took it a little more austere than most people. Right. So there have been some things. We had a discussion with Dave on the whole silver bar that was at the trade show. And I thought it was a silver bar. I mean, that's what I looked at. I said, I looked at silver bar. And that's what I looked at, was a silver bar. And people tried to make an example of it. I'm like, it's a silver bar. Yeah, we've had that discussion before, too. Yeah. I remember we talked about that. And I talked to Oliver about it. He said the same thing. It's a silver bar. I mean, that's all it is. Bar. It's all it's trying to be, and that's all it is. Now, I'll be honest, the one they did last year, it looked like a Willy Wonka bar. Don't know if it was the best idea, but I don't think there was bad intentions. But actually, that was, again, I didn't feel that was probably if it was this year, I'd probably pass on covering it. Is what I'm saying. Okay. Just because, like I said, I'm being really careful on some of that. But I'll have conversation. But at the trade show, we didn't we shot video on the booze, and we didn't delete the video on the silver bar, the Rocky Patel silver bars. We just kept it in there because that's how it was explained to us, and that's what we thought. We never thought anything otherwise. Yeah, and actually, since you bring that up, when did that come out? I forget. The silver bar. It hasn't been released yet. It hasn't been released yet. So do we have a date though, or a month? I think they were talking October for it. Because those are going to be 3 different Rocky Patels. 3 different box press Rocky Patels, yeah, in a package. Interesting. Yeah, I'm actually curious to try that. I mean,
You know,
that's right. Barry's here. He'll tell us October.
I thought that's what they said. Yeah, I thought that's what he said. You know, so
Which,
you
by
know,
the way,
but
Barry's account keeps changing. He goes from unknown user to Barry Beliveau to Cigar Authority back to unknown user.
the many.
He's
the
wearing
many-
many hats tonight.
He also got two names, Barry Stein and Barry Beliveau. So I mean, it's like you got all these names there.
What is it that Jonathan says? That's his maiden name. No idea why.
No. So I mean, you know, look, there's always gonna be more of these that come up. There's gonna be it's always gonna be a debate. And you know, I'm just trying to use common sense here, is what I'm using.
So, I see something interesting here. Don Mancini, Abe lost a customer today with his unfair business practices, and I'm not sure what this is referred to.
I say we stay away from that.
Yeah,
we don't know. We don't know what that. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I don't know.
I'll be honest. Yeah, and I'll be honest. You know, look, we all in our walks of life have bad experiences with customers and other types of jobs. I don't really feel it's something that we need to bring up on here. If Abe wants to bring it up on his show, let him make that choice, is what I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree. It has nothing to do with us, and I have nothing but respect for Abe, and that's not going to change unless he calls me on the phone and says, "Fuck you." I'll be like, "Fuck you," but he won't do that. So
he'll get
unless
mad
I give him
when
a reason to, but I don't plan on giving a reason to do that. So
no, I'll pick on him for drinking Starbucks coffee. That's and waxing poetic about it. That's what I'll pick on Abe about.
Why you don't like Starbucks coffee?
No.
I mean, Starbucks is good.
Well, do they support? They have some strict anti-smoking practices, right?
Yeah,
which is their right to do.
I guess.
No,
that's true.
I don't think their coffee's that great, to be honest. I never thought it was.
I always just thought it was better than Dunkin' Donuts, and when the majority of coffee shops are either Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks, it's like, well, I mean, I can't stand Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and when you need coffee, it's just kind of like you need coffee.
Yeah.
But
we have a good chain down here called Caribou.
Really? Never heard
Caribou Coffee. Yeah, and they're more of a. They came down from the Midwest and they made their way into the Charlotte area. They got some great coffees. They do. In fact, they do the Kona Peaberry once a year, which is that really good Hawaiian coffee. Yeah, I like it's for a chain. It's very good coffee. Caribou.
Now up in Canada, where I don't think our friend oh my God, why am I spacing on his name? John McTavish, cigar surgeon. He's from Canada, eh? Up in Canada, they have a coffee place that I've actually been. When I go up there someday, I want to try. It's very well known. It's like their Dunkin' Donuts. It's Tim Hortons. Have you ever been to Tim Hortons?
Yes, I have. And I'll even tell you something else. They are in New York City right now because when I was up for my dad's memorial, we got some coffee at Tim Hortons. Yep, there's a few of them.
What did you think of Tim Hortons?
I enjoyed it a lot.
Really?
It's a very
Yeah, I've been wanting to check them out. In fact, find one.
Yeah, there's a few and then there's one on Staten Island, which is right near where my mom was living. And I was like, wow, Tim Hortons. I'm like, I heard of this. This is Canada. Like, we got to go here. And it was right across the street from my favorite pizzeria in Staten Island, which closed down recently. And KK, my mom and dad were divorced, so that's why my dad didn't live on Staten Island, but.
Right.
But, they both all got along real well, But yeah, I was telling, and my mom was like, "Yeah, Tim Hortons. This place is really." She's gone there. It's like this place is really good. It's definitely cool. They definitely cool. Yeah, they look like they had some like Dunkin' Donuts type food items there, but I didn't get any of them when I was there.
Yeah, Tom Segura, the comedian, has a joke about Starbucks wanting to push more of the food now than the coffee, and it's so true about all of them, though. I mean. You probably remember more than I do, but 20 years ago, you went to Dunkin' Donuts, you went to Starbucks, you went to any coffee place, right? They had coffee. Maybe they had a couple of pastries. That was it. And then they started carrying sausage, egg, and cheese. They had one sandwich, and it was like, oh my God. And now you go to Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, they got more food on the menu than they do coffee. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, it is true. It definitely is true there. I mean, we used to have. in New York City, and I don't think there's a lot of them anymore. Chock full of nuts. Those places.
I've heard of it.
Oh,
I didn't know it
that
was a place though.
They would change. They sold. Well, there were stores in New York City with chock full of nuts years ago. There may be a few franchises left, but it's great coffee, is what I'll tell people. You get that chock full of nuts coffee. But however they brewed it at these stores, it was really good. They brewed kind of a little bit Starbucks style. I think they slightly overbrew it, but not. I don't think the beans were overcooked as much as Starbucks. Is the difference. That's what my problem with Starbucks is. The beans tend to be over roasted.
Over roasted. Okay.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I've been drinking a lot more ground coffee. Like we have a Keurig. I never use it. Personally, I don't like the Keurigs. I think they water down the coffee. It's never hot enough. Nicole
I have a problem with mine. I agree with you. It's never hot enough.
Nicole uses the Nespresso. She really loves the Nespresso machine. That's what she uses, and all those. And I recently just was getting. I was like, you know what? Like I just kind of want to go back to like basics, and I just want a standard like regular drip coffee maker, and that's what I use every day. And to be honest with you, a lot of the times, I've been drinking a lot of Cafe Bustelo lately.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was playing around with different shit, and I was like, I want to try some Bustelo, and I made that. And I'm like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
And it's simple. It's nothing fancy. It's not expensive. I go to BJ's and I get the big drum, the big 46-ounce thing. They call it the festival size, and it's like $10, and that's it. It's great.
Yeah.
That's my coffee every day.
I mean, I have the single brew system, but I do have the the stovetop percolator, which is still my favorite way to do it. The only problem with the stovetop percolator is you got to have.
Is that the metal kettle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the metal with the basket.
Yeah.
But you got to have coarse ground beans for it. So you got to make sure you. I recommend grinding the beans for that and coarse grinding them, because otherwise it's gonna get through the basket.
Yeah, they gotta be on the rougher side, not a fine. And that's another thing. Like Bustelo is like it's espresso. It's a much finer coffee ground. It's more of a powder than like a coarse grind. So yeah, that definitely wouldn't work. But yeah, something that's a little more coarse grind, that's not as finely ground. Yeah, I totally understand. And you know what you used to use back in the day? I used to use a French press all the time, and I love the French press. I've had some good coffee out of that. If you know how to use it, I will say that.
Yeah, I like I don't know if you've ever seen the Vietnamese style. It's similar that you pour the hot water over it, and it kind of drips in your cup.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've used those.
Vietnamese coffee is really good, by the way. It's one of the best I've had. It's very strong.
I was reading a story recently. First of all, how are we on a coffee conversation right now is wild. But I was reading something earlier, and I really
Abe and Starbucks.
And I really still kind of think. I feel like I don't want to believe it, but I think it might be real. I'm going to ask you. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's one of the countries in Asia. There is a coffee bean that I guess is very popular and kind of expensive. And it's coffee beans that were eaten by monkeys or some animal, and then they like shit them out, and then they actually grind that down, and they brew it. It's actually like a specific style. I don't know if that's true. I read something about that as I was like passing through social media, and I don't know. But apparently, that's a thing. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know if anyone can confirm or deny that.
Yes, it's called Kopi Luwak.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, it looks
is that
like
bullshit?
It is. Look up monkey coffee poop.
I gotta see this. I didn't really do my research on it because I was too busy doing something else. When I saw it,
I will not be trying that.
Kopi Luwak.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. Is a coffee that consists of partially digested coffee cherries, which have been eaten and defecated by the Asian palm civet. Civet? How do you say that?
Civet.
Civet. The cherries are fermented as they pass through the intestines, and then they are collected. It looks like it's popular in the Philippines.
Yeah. And it's not cheap. This is not cheap either.
It's $100 per kilogram for farmed beans, and about $1,300 US per kilogram for wild collected beans. Holy Shit.
By the way, I did
Literally.
not notice. I just did a Google on this, and that's what I came up with.
Oh my God.
Yeah. By the way,
Okay.
for the cigar industry, Google could be your best friend. You can save yourself a lot of money in a trademark lawsuit if you Google. Just saying.
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
The
What'd you say?
cigar industry should use Google. They would save so much money with these trademark stuffs on a lot of these cases.
I feel like you're referring to something specific here, Coop.
Well, no, I'm not specific, but I can tell you, there's a lot of cigars as you start covering the news. You'll see by the end of the week the name changes suddenly. You get another press release saying the name. It's happened. I'll give you a good example of one that I'm smoking one right now from the company. Ace Prime came out with a cigar called the Maximus.
Right.
They had to rename that to the MXS because of
Diamond Crown.
Diamond Crown.
It was funny. So, I think we talked about this on the show before.
Yeah.
Did we talk?
So
about,
I mean, it's happened.
Did we talk about the
Google would have saved that problem.
Did we talk about the Abuelo booth from the PCA trade show?
I think we touched on it. Yeah, I mean the one that had Hemingway and Chisel.
Chisel, yeah.
We were talking to Dave about that.
And then Dave saw it, and then I think he told Lito Gomez, he was like, "Hey, come here, come check this out." And him and Lito went up to the booth and talked to the guy and was like, "Yeah, you got a cigar called the Chisel, and Flor Dominicana has that, and it's trademarked. You got the Hemingway, made by Arturo Fuente. The Abuelo, a cigar that Dave has."
Yeah. So the deal is, the company was called Codio Cigars, and we covered them, right? But the thing is about them is they were some store in New Jersey that was selling these brands out of their store, which I'm not saying that's right to still do with these names.
Yeah.
But they had no
still here.
national. Yep, they had no national attention, and then they took it to the trade show, and obviously, the shit hits the fan, with that, like.
Oh yeah, obviously too. I mean, you see stuff like that, and you can't have to go like, do they not know, or do they just not care? I mean, I don't know. I think it's peculiar. But I heard that story. I was like, that's funny how Dave and Lito went over to the booth and was like, "Oh, hi. I heard about some of your wares that you have here. Maybe you may or may not be familiar with some other brands that make some stuff very similar to those names." I just thought it was funny. Sorry, I had to grab something over there. But yeah, so it's funny because trademark stuff comes up a lot, and I feel like
I hate covering that. I don't even like covering that stuff in the news, to be honest with you, because and Carney said it best to me. It's part of doing business, and he's right. That's why I don't I don't invest a lot of time in covering that stuff. And it's just, it is what it is. It's like I said, it's part of doing business.
What I was gonna say was actually, for those who want to hear a lot more about that kind of stuff, like trademark, trade dress, especially in the cigar industry, anytime Pete Johnson is on a show, especially when he was on your show last time, you guys really went into depth over that. Not so much about specific companies doing certain things, just the process and kind of what goes into that. And Pete knows that stuff very well because he's had to deal with a lot of it, not only just with his own brands, with other people doing stuff for his brands, but I mean he's dealt a lot with Monster Beverage over the Monster name and the color green that he uses with that line, and then they have Monster and their trademark color is a green and this and that. So, but just in a general sense, I've always really enjoyed when Pete talks about that stuff, because just in a general, not even necessarily cigar related, but in a general sense, because I mean that's something that kind of crosses any kind of business or industry. It's just very informative, and I've always enjoyed that conversation. So anytime you see Pete on a show, and if you don't know anything about that stuff, and people are commenting, ask them to bring it up. Maybe they'll see it, they'll ask him about it. But Pete's got a lot of good insight on that.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, through my dad, I got to meet Weird Al Yankovic, and I had a conversation with this about him probably 30 years ago. Because I asked him just hey, it was just kind of an innocent question about, hey, do these guys get mad at you and you do these songs? And he goes, they don't, because I always get permission. And then he was telling me, technically, legally, he doesn't have to get permission because it's parody. But he always said, look, I don't want to have any problems with this. I want to make sure that both parties are in agreement, and it's just having a little fun here. And he said some artists will turn him down, others will say do it. So, but he said that's why he's never gotten into trouble with any of that stuff. This was like 1991, I remember. So it's like more than 30 years ago.
Yeah. And it's funny because I know that the movie about his life is now coming out. Which is kind of cool. Which is really cool.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy. He was a very nice guy, Weird Al.
Yeah? How old is he now? He's got to be kind of getting up there.
I got to say Weird Al's probably in his 60s.
Yeah.
He was in, I want to say he was like 20, maybe 30 when I saw him. My dad, like I said, my dad knew him. Obviously, he drove him. He was in his late 20s, early 30s around that time. So I'm thinking 60 at least. I'm gonna Google it and see what it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why you're doing that?
63. He's gonna be 63 next month.
Oh, 63.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my cord is caught on something here. What? I think I rolled.
Gotta hate when that happens.
I rolled over the cord, and then I'm like trying to move. I'm like, fuck. Yeah. One of the things I wanted to bring up, I had on the. I don't know if you covered this, Coop.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the news from the PCA this week? PCA hosts introductory meeting with Center for Tobacco Products Leadership.
I didn't cover it, and we could talk about that.
Why don't you go ahead?
And I asked Jared about this on Thursday night, and he didn't really have a lot to offer. I just felt like covering that we had a meeting without like accomplishments out of that meeting. What am I doing here? I mean, go to PCA website and read about that. That's what I'm saying. Certainly, I think PCA should be sharing that information. But for me to put it on Coop, what am I going to say? Well, we had a meeting, and I was asking Jared, hey, do we have some good positive next steps? What was the mood? None of that could be answered. It's just like, well, we have a meeting, and there's going to be probably some follow-up meetings. I'm like, okay. So I didn't really take much of it, and I stopped covering these stories. Hey, we wrote a letter. Hey, we had a meeting. Unless there's a tangible outcome that comes out of these things. And it's not because I'm trying to be mean or anything. It's a bandwidth issue. I can't. It's a bandwidth issue is what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, no, I just I figured I would just bring it up and
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just telling you why I didn't, but I think it was
that's fine.
Yeah, I want to make sure it's clear. I think it's important that they shared that information. Don't get me wrong.
Yes. Now, having said that, in terms of what it actually was and what was said, what was your thought on this?
I'm going to use the John Carney answer. It's part of what they should be doing every day as part of their business.
Yeah.
That's my answer on it.
And to be honest with you, you go to I just want to add this one thing,
yeah.
For that whole like middle part of the year, let's say maybe last week of May, Memorial Day weekend, all the way through like the first week of August, all you really hear from the PCA most of the time, and I'm not saying it's the only thing. I'm not saying things get left out. There are things that come through, but most of the centers like on the trade show because it's the trade show's coming up, and then they're at the trade show, and then and there's a lot of focus on that, and that's not bad, and I get it, but it is nice to kind of see some other communications coming out of PCA again about some other things. Like, all right, the trade show's over now. Like, what else is going on? Because that's the stuff that people really need to know.
From talking to Jared, who's a board member right now, Glenn Loop and Joshua have been hands down in this putting together the advocacy strategy going forward, and I'm sure that's a lot of work that's going into this right now. And at the same time, it may seem like, hey, this Dr. King months ago became head of the Center of Tobacco Products, but you know what? I guarantee you they tried to meet with this guy much sooner, and it probably took a long time. So I'm not going to beat them up over that. But yeah, I think they're focused on this advocacy strategy that they're going to roll out at some point. I think they got to do it sooner than later. I'm worried that there is a lot of time going, but I'm sure it's a complex thing they're doing. But I agree with you, Matt, 100%. It's good that we're seeing other types of communication come out. I'm starting to see the PCA take a little bit of leadership with some of the international stuff. I think that's a very important thing. So I think, some of these smoking, like the New Zealand thing, I think came up. I want to say one other country. So I mean, they're starting to do more of that stuff, and it's good that they are sharing that stuff. And I think they should be sharing that directly on their website, which is great. And if they come to me and say, "Hey, this is an important thing. We want to cover. It's part of a bigger picture," yeah, then I'll cover it for them. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. It's just a big bandwidth issue I have right now with what we're covering. I just don't have the bandwidth. And then, if I put the time in, then I want to make sure that my story is shared, not cigar aficionados. So, or
Good point.
in addition to cigar aficionado, I have to have something back in it because it's otherwise. I mean, I'm not trying to be cocky or anything, Matt, but since I've started like really being a little more pushed back, the Cigar Coop numbers have gone up on the website. So I think I'm doing something right now, focusing energies in the right area. So, and that's what keeps the lights on in Cigar Coop. So.
Yeah, no, I agree, and everyone kind of has to do what works for them. We've started to make a couple of changes with the way we're doing stuff at Smokin' Tobacco, and it's all about kind of fine-tuning how your website works best and the things you cover and the traffic that comes from it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not necessarily right or wrong, and everyone has to do kind of their own thing, and there's a style or a format that all of us kind of like to follow for our own sites that works for us.
Yeah.
Because we want to be different from each other.
Yeah, we want to be different, and we each have our own strengths, and I think that's what makes us not cookie cutters, right? So I agree with you on that. I don't have a problem if anyone covers that stuff. I think there's no problem with it. It's just I can't do it right now. We're saturated right now. We went through we didn't fake PCA coverage till Labor Day, so
yeah.
I mean that's just kind of that was so. That explains a lot.
One of the things I wanted to ask you about was, did you see? I'm not sure if you covered anything on the German engineered cigars, the lineup.
I did. I actually did cover that.
You know about that?
Yeah.
What did you think of that? Oh, here we go. I heard the chuckle. You had something to say. I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
So what? Just give the background. They're coming out with. They have a blend.
Yes.
And they're trying to decide what size they're going to release the blend in.
Yes.
Right. So they have thrown it to the consumers to get involved with it, right? And they're selling these 3-packs, and the idea is you're going to go and vote for it, right? Two things I always say about this. Historically, the only example McAuliffe may be the one that I think had success with it, but McAuliffe they just went for the name. They had the blend and the size ready already. Right. So my point is on that is you guys are the blenders. You guys know this stuff. You should know how this is performing best right now. What size this is performing best in. And you shouldn't have to go to a consumer vote to go do that. I've also not really seen this ever work. And I can go through many examples of companies that have done this. I've seen Aging Room do it a few years ago. I've seen CAO do it. And I've never seen this, like the next great thing come out with it. It just doesn't typically work, is what I've seen. And I know EPC's doing it now. I just saw EPC's doing it at the trade show this year. They have something coming. They have that platinum pack.
Yep.
I just haven't, but that's picking a blend. I just never have a good. It's not. I love the fact that there's consumer engagement. Don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna give you a real example. Okay. Espinosa had. I'm gonna tell the story straight. Espinosa had Lazona Palooza. Okay.
Hold on 1 second. Dom, if you have a question, just ask the question. I'm not gonna we can't ask the question if you don't ask the question. You're hinting you have a question.
Yeah.
Type it in the comments. Ask the question. All right, Coop, go ahead.
All right. So at Lazona Palooza, they were coming out with a cigar, which was originally an event cigar, and eventually became a release for a while, which is no longer. And it was called the Alpha Dog.
Yeah.
And they gave us a choice of 3 blends. Okay. And by far, one blend stood out above the other 2. I don't know how the blend won that one. It was awful. I told Hector that. I said, this is awful. I said, you need to override. And they didn't want to override it because that is what the group decided.
Right.
Well, Alpha Dog's not even in there. Alpha Dog's pretty much a dormant brand for them right now. What does that tell you? I just don't ever see this work. I mean, I think you have to put your expertise as a blender and a cigar maker to do that. However, I don't want to beat up the German engineered cigar guys. They're trying to get some consumer. I think they do need some consumer engagement. I just don't know if this is the right answer, the right approach.
I mean, I saw it. I thought it was interesting. It was different, but I can understand and I see where your concerns lie too.
Yeah.
I mean, when you leave it up to the public, I can understand where something might get chosen that just may not end up working out in the long run. Or there's otherwise flaws in that. But to me, it's. I also look at it like I like to see manufacturers trying and trying.
That's why I don't want to beat these guys up on it. Exactly.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the effort, especially from such a small brand. Now, German engineered cigars.
They're nice guys too. Nice guys too.
They're nice guys. They've been around for a couple years now.
Yeah, Claudio's getting involved with their blending, which I think has been key. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they've been doing some good things. They're small. They're trying to work their way up. And to see someone like that trying to look, I'll just come out and say it, and it's not a negative thing. You know, when you're a small brand, you're trying to get attention. You're trying to get recognized. That's how you grow, and that's how you get your business started.
Absolutely.
So I totally get that. So they're trying to do kind of out-of-the-box things like, hey, well, we're a small brand. No one really knows us. How do we get attention to the brand? And let's do something that not many people are doing. Let's try to get the consumers more engaged. Let's have them do this and that or whatever. And you have to give it to them. I mean, it's a good effort. And you know what? I hope it works out for them. I do.
That's why I love the way McAuliffe did the To Be Named, which became the McAuliffe A.
Great example.
But that's a great way. And then look, everyone picked ambassadors. They couldn't do it, so they kind of got creative, and they called it the A. I thought naming the cigar was a much better idea than picking the cigar. I think. Look, we got to trust that these people making the cigars know a lot more than we do. I mean, we have to give them that respect there. And I think they know the best. People in the factories, they know the best representation of these blends. They've been doing this stuff for a long time.
And that's true, too. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what they do. But I will say, before I do, someone likes to say hello. Waiting on you, Coop. I don't know if you noticed.
Hello? I didn't notice.
It's on the screen.
I can't see it.
You don't see the comments on the screen? Your boy's here.
Barry's not here.
I think Barry's still there. He's just being quiet right now.
Oh, okay. I see him. Hello.
Alan Rubin. Alan, welcome to the show. Thank you. I've been waiting for you to come. Really. I really have. I love having Alan on the show. I love Alan. I think he's great. He's a good
working really hard. He is working really hard right now. And good. He's doing a good job. Life on the road ain't easy. He puts a positive spin on it, and
I can't.
Well, no, I didn't see the scrolling wasn't working. That was the problem. So I don't know. Fuck it, Alan. I'm gonna say shit. Now I'm gonna say shit about you. Why the Yankees lose with Derek Jeter's night last night? Okay. He is. He's doing. Like I said, it's not easy, and he's giving us a little insight into what he's doing and the shops he's seeing, and what he's smoking. I think he's doing a good job with that. So nice work.
I should be a guest on the show one night so I can make fun of Coop. I don't know if Coop will let me do it. I'm not gonna lie. He won't let me do it. He won't let me do it, Alan. I'm sorry. I can't. If you're coming on, he's like, I ain't coming on, and then there's just like that's it. So I can't do it. But you're more than welcome to always be here in the comments, and I'll make sure that anything you type and say comes up on the screen because there's not much you can do.
Invite me on.
See, Brandon's got it ready. Just join the comments.
On the record.
Also, I have to. I think it's worth mentioning. So, Dom, I wasn't yelling at you. I was just saying, if you have a question, just ask it. And then we can't answer the question if you don't ask the question. I know you have a question. I saw the comment. You don't have to get upset. No one's attacking you. You know, it's all good. Alan Rubin, Coop doesn't think I'm important enough. Oof.
You're not.
Oof.
You're not. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. You're not. Nothing personal. I'm not really that important.
There's a fight about to break out. There we go. Just wait till Alan Rubin starts talking about.
Well, can we
Phillies
move on and
or-
like do some? Can we move on?
Just let me have my 2 minutes of fun with Alan. You know,
Absolutely.
I
You got 1
appreciate
minute
him
already,
here.
so-
You know, I appreciate him coming on. You know, you don't
the
appreciate
ratings are
people
gonna dip
watch the
now,
show.
yeah.
I mean, and they don't come back. It's come on. You know, at the end of the day, Alan's awesome. He comes to the show. He supports the show, and anyone who supports the show, that means a lot. So.
No, I mean you can't just have everyone on a show. Sometimes it's just not. And I typically I don't put. Usually it's national people I put on a show. Is usually what I'll do.
Barry, who is Alan Rubin? Well,
Let's go.
all right, here we go. Dom Mancini,
there.
Coop, pick me, brother. I have a question. What is your question, Dom? If you don't
Just ask the question. Just ask the question.
If you don't ask the
tell you.
question, then that's it. We're just moving on.
What
okay?
up? I typically this is actually an interesting topic here. The one thing I get asked on Coop a lot is, do we take audience questions? We take a few, but it's not really what our show is set up to do. Eric's show on Dojo does that. The old Cigar Federation shows used to do that. We're just not really set up to do that with our show. But sometimes we will take a few from here or there from the audience. Certainly, if you have the opportunity, just ask it. And if we deem your question something we can talk about, we'll answer it.
I have to say, so I was there for was it last week or the week before when Andy Affey was on with you guys? Was that Tuesday night? Was that last Tuesday?
Yeah.
That was a fun show. You, Bear, and Andy were all in there. I was in the comments. I was having a great time, and I was all excited, and it was a fun time. It was great, and I was really surprised. Not surprised like it was gonna be bad, but it was just another long show, which hey, that's what Coop's known for. But it was all around. It was great. Great conversation. Great show.
That was a rough show for me. I lost track of time because I had just gotten back from New England that day. Because it took me 24 hours to get home, so because of a flight problem. So I didn't get back till a day later. So I was just like, my whole time schedule was messed up.
Carlito says, Barry, we call it busting balls with those we love.
Yeah.
There it is.
Barry wants to do Ask the Bloggers. We've covered the blogger topic already, Matt and I. So it's old news, Barry.
Oof.
Sorry.
Ooh, that was rough. Carlos, finally someone gets me. Yes. Barry gets it. I get it.
I don't.
One of the things, so after at PCA, it was, what night was it? I think it was the night of the wedding. It was like after that we went out, much later after we were done with our personal stuff. We went to the Circle Bar because everyone was in town, and I ran into Carlito, and we were drinking, we were smoking. I don't even remember what it was.
You ran into Carlito. I said, Carlito's here. You may want to get here. That's what I told you.
Well, yeah, but then I got there and then I found him. So,
Right,
but anyway,
right.
so I meet up with him and we were talking for a little bit, and then I don't remember the conversation. I just remember he just was rattling off a bunch of jokes or whatever, and I think he thought I got offended or something, and I just kind of was just it was that point of the night when I was just starting to fade a little bit. I was exhausted. I had a long day, and he just looked at me like I think he thought like I didn't get it, and he was like, "That's just some Cuban humor, man. We like to bust balls," and I'm like, "No, I get it. I do. It was hilarious." But
what they do to Jose, it's great. The way they beat up on poor Jose on Sundays.
oh man, and they got Numbnuts 1, Numbnuts 2.
Numbnuts 2, and Jose.
I have to say, Meet the Professor, that's a fun show. They do a great job, and anytime you get to see Jose Blanco on camera and on a show, it's a great time. And Jose is an awesome guy. So we're not going to go into the details just because you know the story. I'm not going to talk about it on the air. But there was a situation that came up earlier this week, and me and you were talking about it. And the first thing you said was, "You got to call Jose Blanco." I'm like, "All right." I called him. It was really late here. What was it, like 1 in the morning? And we text Jose Blanco. And he's like just getting up for the day in Macedonia.
Yeah.
He was like, I just woke up, and he's like, that's I'm right on it though. I'm on the case, and it was something I needed his help looking into a situation, and he was like, I'm on this. Don't you worry. I'm into this, and you're just like, dude, Jose is gonna be like the captain inspector right now, and and sure enough, within 2 hours, Jose comes back to me. He's like, "This is what I found out. It's this, and this. And by the way, my suggestion is it's a no-go." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And dude, Jose's the man. He is the man. He knows everybody. He knows almost everything. You go to him and listen. I can't say enough about Jose Blanco. He really is a great guy.
We love Jose. We love him. Yeah.
You know, he's a dear friend. It's an honor to be his friend and to know him. And he's always given me the best advice. He's always, you know, anytime I come to him with something, he always has an answer. And if he doesn't, he finds out and he tells you, and he comes back with more than you asked for. And you're like, this is plenty, Jose. Thank you. And it's just, yeah, it's fun too. It could be something serious. And it's fun because you're doing it with Jose, and he just makes.
No, there have been situations I've had to call Jose, as well on serious stuff, and he has been an incredible help to me. And he's a great friend, and you know, so great that I got to see him at the trade show this year and down at Pro Cigar. I feel like I saw him twice this year, which is like, you know, but we talk probably, I mean, every day. I mean, I gotta be honest. I talk to him more than probably some family members, which is not a good thing on my part, just because I need to. But we do talk every day. He's like my confidant on stuff. So he gives me a lot of coaching and advice behind the scenes. You know, I think you need to do this, Coop. You know.
You know, he's been around a long time. He has a lot of experience.
Yep.
You know, he's a very credible source with a lot of things now. You know, he's worked for a lot of companies. He worked for La Aurora. He worked for Ernesto Perez Carrillo. He worked for Hoya de Nicaragua. Now he works for Arturo Fuente, and you know, he works for Carlito. So, you know, and I know that they love him.
Let me tell you something. As much as I talk to Jose, he has never tipped his hand on a move he's made once to me. I did not know I didn't know him when he went from La Aurora to Hoya. But when I'm telling you, he didn't even tip his hat that he was going to Fuente to me. He is just I always respect that line. I don't ask him that. And if he wants to share something with me, that's his choice. But he's very respectful on these things, and which is good. You know, I think it's a very admirable quality. You know, I knew he would tell me in time. So
I think we finally have the question that Dom has been wanting to ask, and it is interesting. It's a two-part question. They want to get your official stance on the LFD NFT, which I know that we've already covered. We've talked about it on the show, but for those who didn't hear, but I'll let you answer the question.
And what do I think about? Okay, so it's a two-part question. What is my official stance on the LFD NFT? And what do I think about a competing company completely ripping the idea off of themselves? The answer is, so the first one is, I think it was I don't understand NFTs, but you can't argue how it was a positive, right? As far as the ripping it off goes, what I will tell you is, and I'm assuming this is Smoke Inn, Abe did this with the blessing of people from LFD, from what I understand. He went to John and some of these folks and Tony, and he talked to them. So I don't know how it's ripping it off if he had a conversation with them. It's not like he did it against their will. I think he helped, LFD helped them out. And Matt, if I'm speaking out of turn here, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. I think this has been said. So
say that again.
Publicly.
Sorry, I was reviewing a couple of things. Say that last part one more time.
About ripping off the idea is that Abe actually went to LFD before putting this idea out. He went and talked to them, and he got some advice and some help on this. So I don't think this was a ripoff at all.
I don't think so either.
I think it was a blessing. I think, I'll say it was a blessing there.
In fact, when the LFD NFT was going on, the conversation we kept happening was we were excited to see who else would attempt it next because, you know, Tony and the guys at LFD, you know, they did a great job with it. It was it's a very unique idea. Yeah. They executed it flawlessly. And we were saying, like, hey, like, we expected more brands to do it. That was the conversation for months leading up to it. Like, we were like, is Fuente going to try it? Is, you know, maybe Drew Estate going to try it? We were excited to see who else would. I wouldn't call it ripping. I think it's a great opportunity to do something new.
Yeah, and if we want to say who did it first, it was United, Dave Garofalo, and Oliver Naveau. So
Technically, they did the first cigar
they
NFT.
did, they did this. They did a little different, but all right, I get. But I think in this case, because there was a blessing in here, and there was help done, I don't have a problem with it. I always say this though, and this is the part I say. Fred Rui wrote a great book called "Be the Lime." And it's a great book if you're trying to do like a project or get something off the ground or a concept. And he says, there's a lot of lemons out there, but the lime is the one that stands out to try to be something different. So I think there is something to be creative and innovative. And so that's just my feeling on that too. But let's also be real. I guarantee you Abe's not going to be the only one doing this. So, and I guarantee people could be doing this without LFD's blessing. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that my comment on it was, I applaud them for going for it because, I mean, obviously, you see something executed successfully and you're like, well, I want to try that and do my own thing.
Yeah.
I know there's people, making comments about it being too similar. I understand that, maybe some people might feel
but I think this is because they were helping them along with the process.
Yeah, I mean, they helped them with it, and I think that they were like, okay, well, let's try to make it similar because we know that works. So it's like, why are we going to do it and then do something completely out of left field? And again, I mean, and that's a fair point too. Like, oh, we could do something different, and maybe
they could.
But the mentality probably was, hey, well, we saw how LFD did it. They did it like this. It was successful. It's, let's not make it more complicated than it is, and let's go for it. Let's see if we can do it. And I think it, Abe and Pete, they pull theirs off, and it's very successful. It's kind of like, all right, so LFD did it, and it was good. And then Abe and Pete did it, and they pulled it off. So it's like now you have two examples of people who were able to be very successful with it. So it's like it gives it even more credibility. Like you had two people do it now, and again, United was first. They did a classic strict NFT only. NFT.
LFD I think was the lime in this case. They came up with a different concept.
The LFD one was more more developed, right?
Yeah.
So that was very different. Now, United was successful with theirs. LFD did something very different, and they were successful. And I think the idea that LFD created was just kind of like, that's a great opportunity. Because it's like you look at it, it's like, yeah, you buy this NFT, then what do you do with it? LFD was like, let's sell an NFT, but let's also make it not only like, you look at it from a business standpoint, how do we keep making money off of it? And then you have someone who owns it. It's like, how do I keep getting something out of this after I buy this image file and I'm done? So I buy this thing, but then I can actually make my money back and I can make profit on it, down the road. I get more out of it than just getting a file that goes, oh, look at that. It's a little graphic of a cigar. Pete and Abe saw that and said, wow, that's a great money-making thing. I mean, any business owner is going to see that and be like, wow, there's a successful business idea that they flawlessly executed. Let's try it too. And I think that you're going to see even more people do something very similar.
Yeah.
Now, as this goes on, maybe 3-4 more companies try it down the road. Maybe theirs starts to be a little bit more away from the LFD model that they did. Maybe it's a little different. Sure, but I think that it's not out of this world that, the first one after LFD was very similar because it's like, well, we know that works. So if you're going to do something like this, let's try to follow a similar model. Yeah. And, because we want it to work. We want it to, if it flops, it's kind of, that sucks. It's a bad business move. So I don't really fault them for that. I think that they're just trying to follow a successful business model. Yeah. And I get it.
Yeah, I do too. And like I said, I think you'll see others and then we can get into the whole point if this market's sustainable. That's another story. Because I think as far as selling the NFTs go, it works. But now will the consumers sustain this model is going to be the question.
That's the other part of it too. We have to see if downstream do the consumers.
I have some questions on if that's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to work, or I'm not saying it's not going to work. I just say we got to see what the market's going to dictate on that.
Carlito chimed in from our previous conversation. Thank you, Coop. With all of the 30 years that I've been close friends with Jose Blanco, he has never shared one technique, one tobacco blend, or any inside information of any company he's ever worked for, nor would I ask. But if I did, he would immediately shut me down. He's a man of honor and integrity, and that's very accurate.
Yeah. Nor do I ask Jose Carlito's secrets either, by the way. So and Jose, because I would never do that, but Jose I know would tell me to go pound sand if I ever asked that. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. So there's a like Jose and I we talk about it's other more mundane stuff. Stuff in the end that's occasionally we do need help, but it's just light stuff that we just kind of are interested in.
Yeah. He is a great resource, hands down.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
anyone who has that opportunity, he's nothing but help.
Yeah.
He's an encyclopedia.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you when my dad died, and I remember having the conversation with him outside the hotel. Like, well, I was outside the hotel having and the conversation he gave me that day really kind of gave me a pickup and everything. So, that's the side of that's the thing of Jose I can always count on too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, I can't believe we're already an hour and 45 into this thing. I can't believe it
Yeah.
goes by so fast. How are you? So how are you enjoying your cigar? Let's.
This is fantastic. This is fantastic. It's a Connecticut broadleaf blend. There's just when you get this is like earlier I had the sweet. I was talking about that sweetness I was getting off the Hemingway Maduro. I'm getting this nice sweetness. This is a little more amped up I think than that Hemingway I had, so it's good. I'm following up with this, but I think this cigar is going to do extremely well for Ace Prime. It's a PCA exclusive. I think the plan is he's going to expand the line out going forward, but. It's a great expression of broadleaf on this cigar.
Yeah, I'm really excited to try that. I really am. I've been getting into a lot of the Crown Heads Ace Prime cigars in the last year and a half, and I have to say, 90% of it, I'm like,
yeah,
it blows me away. They've done a really great job. We had Miguel on the show a few weeks ago. We have Luciano
great
coming
guy.
up. I don't have my calendar in front of me. I want to say first week of October, I think. And I'm excited for that one too, because there's a lot of questions that I can't wait to ask him, and talk a lot about what he's been doing, because he's been doing a great job too. And it's unfortunate that we did not get to catch up with him at the trade show, because
and it's unfortunate we couldn't have you at the house that night.
I know. Our whole trade show schedule got thrown out the window, and then Nicole got sick halfway through. I mean, that threw us off our whole game.
Yeah.
So, and it's tough. So I'm excited to have that opportunity. By having him on the show, we can kind of recoup what we didn't get at the trade show.
Yeah.
But
he did incredible. Yeah, he did an incredible job at the house with this. He did an impromptu blending seminars
with the wine.
With the wine, and he took tobaccos. He brought bins of tobaccos into the house. It was great. It was hot. Our camera overheated. But it was also, we had that night really said, because this is when the COVID started spread. I didn't even know Nicole had it yet, but we just only said there were a couple people. We didn't know either. Yeah, it was just, we cut everything off at that point because we didn't want anyone getting, and people did get sick. The people at the house were sick, so it happened.
So I was just trying to catch up with some of the comments here too. Yeah, if you have a question, ask the question. I don't know how many times I have to tell you guys. If you have a question, just ask. You don't have to wait for an invitation. Just ask it so I can see it, because I'm producing the show right now. So I can't be, just send it so I can read it and we can keep going, because I got like 3 screens in front of me and there's a lot going on. So I can't,
Yeah, I mean, there's a Barry Allen flame war going on. It looks like about to, not flame war, debate, but
I feel like there's been multiple dynamics in the show tonight between like people in the comments, or us and people in the comments, and then like me and you. Well, there's always a dynamic between me and you, and I just like to get you going because.
Yeah. I actually do believe what some of Barry said about the NFTs could alienate some folks if it's too, because what's going to happen is if we see a lot of these priced high, it's going to be on the consumer end, and consumers are just going to they'll find something else to buy, is what I'll just say. So I think it's just got to be done carefully, is what I'm telling you. Now that these things actually have to be sold to consumers, and some people may just choose to keep them for their own personal consumption if they're independently wealthy. That's their choice.
Yeah, like I said, it'll be exciting to see who else does them and where they go. It's been exciting to.
I gotta admit, I was surprised it was Abe, because he was such a doubter on the whole cryptocurrency thing. That's what surprised me most. There were people I predicted might do it before him, but Abe wasn't on my short list. I can tell you that.
Yeah, so I don't think I was like shocked that it was 8. I was a little surprised. I was like, oh, cool. But I was more surprised. I think what surprised me more is just how soon the next one came. I was like, oh wow. I mean, that's like a week later.
He moved quick on it, but he's got to they got to get everything ready. So this ain't the auctions don't happen until next year.
Right. Of course. I mean, LFD
Yeah.
announced theirs a little bit in advance too.
Yeah, they did this back in April. So I mean, it was 4 months earlier. So yeah, it does need some time to kind of. But I think LFD, like you said, they got to be given a lot of credit for the execution of that thing. And they created a whole community around it, which I think is really cool. You know, that community, what is it, the Discord?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, the Discord guys are here tonight.
There's too many, like, the problem is, like, well, I won't go there. Like, I think communities are, like, true communities where people, like, this Discord communities, this is the real deal, and I have a lot of respect for that. But, there's you can't just, how can I put it? You can't just create a community for the sake of creating a community. Does that make sense?
Where are you going with that one? I mean, like, if a brand creates a community, I mean, it's a.
But there's a purpose of it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think sometimes I think you got to have you got to be the line. Your community's got to have something different from the other communities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think I know what you're talking about.
So like Discord, this was built around the LFD concept, and I really and now it's kind of grown, out of that.
And it's about their brand and the NFT and all their stuff that they do, and it's which
like
again,
you have a Smoke and Tobacco social group on Facebook.
We do.
So I mean that's a community. That you have. So I think it's a powerful thing that you guys have built.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, look at perfect example. Look at the way McAuliffe has gotten their ambassador group together. It's another great example.
Wow, what a monster! Yeah.
That's a huge one. Pete has his Saints and Sinners Club.
Yep.
Abe has the Smoke Inn Social.
Yep.
I mean, there's some really good if it's executed properly. Yeah.
I think the key. That's what I think. I think if there's a positive vibe to it, and I'm not saying you can't bust balls. I'm just saying there's a positive vibe where you don't just like shit on people. The community will thrive.
I agree. And I think that it's worked out. Even for Abe as a retailer, there was a few releases that they had had an incredible demand for, and not enough to go around. So they were like, all right, well, we're going to use our Smoke Inn Social group as our community. So if you're a member of our little group that we use to promote our stuff, and fans of our store and our customers and stuff like that, and fans of KMA are in there too, which is technically a separate entity, but it's all under that umbrella. It's all in there, and they use that group to execute special things that they do, and it works that way. And McAuliffe does it really well with their ambassadors, with some of their projects that they have going on, and then they do the open house, and they invite all the ambassadors to come to the McAuliffe office, which is coming up. I believe that's like in a week or so. So I agree, and we've done it. We don't. My group I haven't executed as well as I've wanted to, but that's also because I have like 5 different things going on, and then I'm like I'm all the way over here.
That's why
I go over here,
that's why I don't have a group. I'll contribute to other groups to some extent.
Looking back, I probably shouldn't have started the group, and I don't say that because it's not a good group, because I can't give it the full attention that I've wanted to, and I feel bad about that. But in the future, maybe we'll try to do some things with that. I think it would be good.
I worry if I did a group because, and I'll be completely transparent here. I think we could get a group going. Don't get me wrong, but not. I don't. Cigar Group's not all about roses. Everything coming out roses, and we do hit some controversial topics, and I just worry it could be divisive, and I don't think we need divisiveness. So that's why I've stayed out of that, and let the other folks who do that they can do that and keep it positive.
Yeah, and I think that's true about media in general and stuff. On the shows, or whatever. People realize, people don't realize, I should say. Not everybody, but there's some people out there that they don't realize. Look, sometimes on these shows or on our websites or whatever, it's not all sunshine and roses. Sometimes we have to cover things that have some controversy or maybe are in negative light. And it's not. We don't do it because we're like, oh, I can't wait to burn this guy. It's if we don't cover stuff like that, where's our credibility? And people have to remember when it comes to us, like it's a level of credibility. And it's like if you only cover the good stuff and you never talk about the bad stuff, it's like, well then you have to be fair. I mean, it's not we don't. Negative stuff is never done to attack people. And remember, a lot of times the stuff we cover, it's not even our fight or our conversation. It's us telling about another conversation or another feud or another controversy. It has nothing to do with us. We just have to report on it, and that's just, the integrity that we have.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I could tell you that was probably the most controversial thing I did was Giuliani. Now, I don't normally get into politics online, but this was related to the cigar industry. And if you remember when Trump got elected and Giuliani was on Fox News that night?
I don't remember.
Okay. This is before you were kind of getting into this. Okay. So Giuliani said something about some of the cigar makers in Little Havana. I think he mentioned Padron. He might have mentioned my father. The next day, everyone had Giuliani's going to save the industry. Like, Giuliani's going to be this white knight, right? And I wrote an article basically saying, no, it will not happen. I will tell you it will not happen. And it was a mistake because it was so divisive. And I got threats against me on it. I was told not to come into certain shops. Because I took a very hard stance on Giuliani. And then I went a step further when he was at the trade show as the keynote speaker, and I destroyed the keynote address he did, saying this was garbage, right? And this is a guy, like, I actually voted for Giuliani in the past, by the way, just so you know. So I don't hate Giuliani. I just know he is not, he's a guy who's interested in cigars, but he's not committed to helping us, is what I said. I was ready to kind of fan the flames when 4 years later, but then January 6th happened, and I'm like, I'm not going there. Because we were at a point divisive enough in this country. If I fan that flame again, saying, okay, let's look back and see what I said 4 years ago, what came true, I didn't do that. So I kind of let it go. But that was a tough thing I had to deal with, let me tell you. It was for about 6 months, I dealt with that stuff.
Yeah, and again, this kind of goes back to what I said before. Sometimes, and you know what, I'll admit, sometimes we do cover certain things, and it does blow up in our face. You gotta
be careful with politics, even if it's cigars. Is what
but politics specifically, I mean, that's a very, I mean, general politics, not just cigar politics. General politics, is always a touchy subject. Yeah, and we stay away from it. We don't engage in politics.
Now, we do one thing political on Coop. Bear and I do the Election Day show every year. But we have kept it politically agnostic, and I think we've done a very good job. We've not upset many people with it at all.
Really? Really,
yeah.
Coop? Come on.
No, sorry about that. That
I don't care.
I'll tell you. No, there's a legitimate reason why that rang. I had to keep it on.
Oh, that's fine. No, that's fine. No, I was just giving you a hard time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I'll tell you off the air.
That's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, you're gonna feel guilty you said that, but you didn't know. So,
I know. All right. Yeah. Anyway, you were saying.
Yeah. No, I mean, so we do that election night show, and we just kind of recap the results. Is all we do. It's like we Bear and I did it with the electoral votes. We do it with the midterm. We're gonna do it with the midterm elections, but we don't do like policy or anything like that. We said this is interesting. What's happening? We smoke some cigars and we have a good conversation that night with it. So, and that's been okay. We haven't created any political controversies. We've done 3 of those shows now. So I think we did a good. I'll say we did a good job with that.
Sorry, I was gonna say something and it just fell right out of my mind. I was holding on to that and then I lost it. I just went blank there for a second, and I can't remember what I was gonna say. My bad. It happens. Anyway, Coop, we are getting towards the 2-hour mark of the show.
Yes, we are. So we're getting into bear territory.
We're getting into bear territory. We're getting into overtime. Before we do wrap up the show for this week, Is there anything else we left off the table? We didn't really follow our standard format tonight. We kind of had more of a general banter tonight, but
No, I know there's one thing we
it's
wanted
been
to
a
talk
lighter.
about, but I want to.
It's been a lighter
I want to
news
put that
week.
one off for a little bit. Yeah, there's one thing we want to talk about, but let's put that one off a little bit for a bunch of reasons.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I think it's too early.
Yeah. But no, I think we covered everything. I mean, we talked about new releases this morning. A lot of stuff's getting shipped right now. I think is the last thing to just say. So if you're looking for these cigars that we were talking about at the trade show, you're going to start seeing these get out onto consumer shelves. Some companies are better at telling the media about these releases that they're shipping more than others, is what I'll just say. So we can't get to all of them, but keep an eye on your retail shelf is always the best thing, is what I'll tell people with that.
Absolutely, yeah. Always check with your local brick and mortars. Once again, big thanks to Barry. Get me these smokes. Support your local brick and mortar. That's what I did. I went to my local brick and mortar. I supported them. Now,
I bought. I didn't have the box with me, but I did buy the Wise Man Maduro Firecracker box.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I did, and I'm glad I did. It was very good. Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said before, support local brick and mortar. Now, if you can't support your local brick and mortar, you can always go online, and we do that. And there's a lot of shops around the country that I do support as well. But I always go to my brick and mortar first when I'm looking for something. And shout out to Two Guys Smoke Shop, twoguyscigars.com. Barry Stein hooks us up.
Yeah.
That's the number 2, guyscigars.com.
Yeah.
And they don't even have an ad on this show. They have an ad on the other show. They don't have an ad on the show, but I threw that out there because I love Barry. So Dave and everybody else.
Look, they were. I can't get over that. It was a great day up in Salem, Nashua. It was great. We hung out with Barry that night. I just gotta mention one little funny thing. It's kind of. So remember when Dave was going to drive us to Nashua, right? I figured we were going to get. Dave said I'm driving, right? And I figured we're going to get in Dave. He's got some big SUV, right? We can smoke it. We get a Tesla. I didn't see that one coming. I didn't see Dave as a Tesla guy at all. Like, very kind of modern, I consider him more of an old school guy. And he's loving all that, he goes, like, let me show you how I can accelerate this thing. And boom. Like, that was fun.
Yeah, it was. I had never been in a Tesla before. I was actually excited. I was like, ooh, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm just going to show you guys how fast this car can really go. And I'm like, all right. And
he goes, hold on. He's like,
whoa. I wasn't even ready for it.
I had only been at Tesla once. And it was a very short time. So that was the longest experience. It was great. It was like, wow. And we can smoke in here. And he's like, of course. There's a cigar, It's like.
So I have to mention something really quick here, because we have some of our friends from the Discord chat watching the show tonight.
Thanks to all of them for coming in. We do appreciate it.
We do. However, a lot of them are on the YouTube. So, as I've said before, they keep asking, like, Discord exclusive. Listen, Tony Gomez said that he would do something for the Discord group, but he has not released any information. When he does, I will cover that story. Until then, there is nothing to cover. So that is where I stand on that, and that's the last time I'm gonna. It's the last time I'm gonna talk about it. So there's nothing to cover. Okay, from Tony Gomez, and that's who we cover stuff based on the manufacturer, because that's just how we do it. And Coop will tell you the same thing. So there's nothing there, and that's it.
And then it's got to fall into at least with me, it's got to fall into the guidelines too. So. We don't cover everything. So
when Tony Gomez or LaFleur or even John Carney goes, hey, this is a press release and this is what we're doing, we'll report on it. But there's nothing to report on, so I don't know what you guys want from me. I mean, there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
As for the other thing, like there's really not much there. That was a kind of a small story that I kind of kept in the Discord group, and that's where it's going to stay. So that's it. But that's it. That's all I wanted to say, because these guys are all getting all antsy about this, and I'm like, those are two things that they're not coming up on the show. I mean, they're just not the time or place. But anyway, so that's been our show this week. It was, like I said, a little bit different, a little bit. It was kind of fun. It wasn't so I didn't have to really follow along with several different things that we had to hit to, and it was a good time.
It was fun. Appreciate everyone participating. Thank you so much. It's a Saturday night, and you're hanging out with us. I mean,
I know.
Yeah,
and I'm at the point now where my mind is getting to mush, because I had the show Thursday night. We did KMA today. Now we're 2 hours into this show. It's like
This is my third show today because we recorded Jukebox today.
I've done a lot of show time this week, so I'm just like now I'm getting to the end where I'm like, okay.
Hey, Matt. Before we get to the end, I do want to plug something on Coop. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. We have 3 shows next week. The Jukebox show, which was recorded, is on album track 1s, the first tracks of albums. We did a show on. We just recorded that show. On Tuesday night, Bear and I are doing a show on cigar samplers. And on
I saw that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And on Thursday night, not announced, but I'm going to announce it on the Spare Notes series number 24. We have a special guest, and it's one of your favorites.
Oh, I know who it is.
Booth.
Yeah.
Matt Booth.
He's a good dude. He's a friend. I love him.
He is. We're really happy to have him. There wasn't supposed to be a Coop show on Thursday originally. We were not going to be, but we ended up having it. I actually wasn't available to do the show. It changed. My plans changed. So I said, let me see if I can get someone. Matt's usually a guy. It's easier to get him on shorter notice than longer notice, is what I noticed. So he happened to be available. So yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to get him to come on in November. I have to follow up with him. That's the last time he was on the show. He was on with us last year for our Veterans Day episode as a former Marine who served this great country. We were like, yeah, let's come on and do the Veterans Day special, and that was cool. And it's always a good time. And sometimes I'll get a couple of some old military stories out of him, and it's a fun time. So I'm trying to get him on again for like November, December, because he hasn't been on this year yet. So try to cover that. We also, he hasn't been on since the news that STG, took over and bought out Room 101 Cigars. So it'll be really cool to talk about that and maybe kind of like what's kind of going on now and how it's going to move forward, how that really changes the dynamic of how that brand is now run, because such a bigger company now is vested into it, right? So that obviously opens a lot of doors. So it'd be really interesting to kind of talk to him on the air and just kind of feel him out on, what he's got going on with that and kind of the folks at STG, and it'd be really cool. And I really hope that brand really blows up because of this. And if it doesn't, I'll be very disappointed. But I really hope that it does. That would be cool, man. I love that dude. He's got a great brand.
Yeah,
Not even just his cigars, all the things he does. From his jewelry and his apparel to his gin, like it's all killer stuff. It's all my stuff is his. My wedding ring is a Room 101 ring.
I saw that. Yeah.
So, nothing but love for him. So yeah, I'm excited for that. You have some really cool shows coming up, and I'm excited.
Yep. So yeah, pretty excited on that, and so stay tuned on that. It's a busy week next week.
Yeah, it is. But with that, guys, that's going to do it for our show. Don't forget to visit smokingtobacco.com for more news and updates from the cigar industry. While you're at, head over to our social media, our YouTube channel, and everywhere you can find your podcasts on iTunes, Apple, whatever. Hit that like and subscribe button, and stay smoky, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you,
Take
everybody.
care.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Before we go off, Carlito brought up something. I almost forgot. Let's actually stop for a second and talk about this. Never forget. Remember 9/11 tomorrow. You know what? That's actually Carlito. Thank you for that. Right before I hit the off button.
That. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
That's right. Tomorrow is it 21 years now?
Yep.
Wow. It's amazing. I remember the 10th anniversary like it was yesterday.
I was, growing up on Staten Island, and Brooklyn, especially Staten Island, a lot of people were affected. A lot of people from Staten Island worked in the World Trade Center. I was very lucky. I knew no one who passed away, but unfortunately there was tons of people I knew who had loved ones pass away. So it was very, very, very tough.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things when it comes up, especially at the anniversary, and you think about it, it's...
Yep.
It's a sad day in history, and it always will be.
Yep, absolutely.
It always should be, I should say. It should be.
Yep.
You should never forget about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, Carlito, thank you for reminding us about that.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to remember those who were lost in 9/11. And you know what? We'll dedicate this show to all of those that were lost and to their families. That's right. Tomorrow's a special day for remembrance. A special day for remembrance. We should always remember that day, and never let those that we lost be forgotten. So thank you for that, Carlito. That is very important, and I'm glad that we got that in there. But with that, I'm going to sign off, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care, guys.